too many people on and we didn't even get to finish everything? Well, we've done it again! But this time, we planned for it. So we have 3 different guests for our first ever Another Wasted After Hour!
Should we try something new? Yeah, we should try something new. Robot lady, sound the alarm!
Warning. The following podcast is another wasted hour. Warning. The following podcast is another wasted hour.
Don't waste my motherfucking time!
Hello, everybody. Once again, we are here. Another week has gone by. You're listening to Another Wasted Hour. This week, we're going to try something a little different. We usually have our just general statement where all the noises happen and everything, and I yell and I scream and I say, oh, the next hour is going to be replaced with 2 ignorant, uninformed, ill-advised, self-deprecating morons ranting about opinions that they have no right to have and are probably wrong and absolutely do not matter. Not doing that this week. All right, we're not going to do that. This week, our goal is to convince you that where we hail from. No, wait, that's the same thing. I'm doing the same thing.
I'm just relieved. I'm just relieved that this went where it did, because the last time you whispered to me, "Should we try something new?" the neighbors complained and the cops got involved. It was real awkward.
Well, we are still trying to convince you where we hail from, just outside Washington, D.C. is not just a city of politics and scandals, but one brimming with art, music, and culture, as impossible as that may seem. But we're going to do it in a different way this week. So a few weeks ago, actually probably a few months ago, we had a really unique opportunity. We had some really lovely musicians and fans of the show who said, we're doing a show together and we'd like to come on the show, all of us. And we said, that sounds like a terrible idea, because usually if we pull back the curtain, what you would find out is we get emails and people say, I'd like to be on the show. And we go, that's great. We'd love to have you on the show. Could like 1 or 2 of you maybe come on to the show? And they're like, okay, well, maybe 3. And we're like, okay, sure. But it's just gonna get crazy and crowded and stuff. But that's
Can we also bring our videographer and our publicist and our dog walker?
And that's from one band, right? And so we go, well, okay, they've got one thing they're talking about. We'll try and make it work. But I think the best shows often happen with one artist that we get to kind of sit and talk with. And then this show happened where these lovely people said, we are doing a show together, 3 bands. We want all 3 bands to come in at once. The show did not go well. From that show, we have Elizabeth II. You can already hear her coming in. She was there. I think we got halfway through. Please God, just get it right. Get one right.
That sounds about right. Yeah, we didn't get anywhere as close to near and far.
It's really bad.
I think you may have gotten one right, but it was like 1 out of 3. And then the music came on and we were like, that's the show. We messed it all up. It's terrible.
Oops.
Good energy, lots of fun, but definitely didn't follow the time frames that we usually do. But what the listeners didn't hear when we were doing that is right before each of our shows. Sometimes you can jump up on Facebook and we'll do a live stream of our pre-show. And we ask our artists some questions. We try to get to know them a little, find out what's coming up and things like that. And so we were doing this pre-interview. And even with our single guests, sometimes that goes a little sideways and we're like, oh man, yeah, I played at that venue once too. That was crazy and stuff like that. Oh yeah, have you ever been to Charlotte? Oh, Charlotte's great. Right? And we just kind of get into it because all of the reminiscing and so much that musicians have in common. Well, this went on for like an hour before the show. Then we did the show, which took an hour and probably needed another half hour to be finished. But that pre-interview was actually a lot of fun, and I think gave us a lot of thoughts of how do we capture some of these longer conversations about really interesting topics. So what we've done is we've brought some very talented folks into our studio today. We have Elizabeth II. Say hello
there.
We've got Rebecca from the Neuro Farm.
Greetings.
And we've got Mary Jo Matea from Mary Jo Matea and everything else that Mary Jo Matea does.
Hi there.
Hello. All of you have been on the show before, but you've done it in the old style. This is kind of a special. It's like a holiday special.
Holiday special.
That has nothing to do with the holidays whatsoever. So we'll get into.
We figured if we're gonna fuck up a show, let's just make it the last one of the season.
Yes.
Nobody ever cares about season finales. You never have to land it.
Let's end 2019 strong.
Gotta
Yeah.
have a plot twist.
Exactly. So I'm going to get into each of what you all have been doing one by one and go through some of these longer form questions that we'll just kind of talk about as a group here. So let's start off. We'll just go from left to right, at least my left to right. So Elizabeth II, we had you last
Yes.
on when we invented this concept.
the
accidentally.
fuckery that was 3 different bands.
Yes, the huge
One
clusterfuck.
podcast.
And so, but you're back. You've got a show coming up Saturday, January 11th at the Songbird in Washington, D.C.
Yes.
It's with another co-conspirator of that evening.
Oh, yes.
Right? Kat Janice.
Mrs. Kat Janice.
She was also there that
my
day.
partner in crime.
and also the Can't Evens are also playing that night. If you want to find out more about her music and shows and things that are coming up, go up to Elizabeth II, ElizabethIImusic.com. I remember us saying last time, if you just go to Elizabeth II, you just get the queen, right?
You just get the queen and her corgis. Her beautiful corgis.
Which isn't terrible.
I mean, I did go as her for Halloween this
you?
past October. Yeah, I had a stuffed corgi. It was great. Yeah,
I love corgis.
They're so great. They got cute butts.
corgis are
Do
great.
you know they float?
Yes, I
Corgi
love-
butts float. If you put a corgi in like a small pool of water,
Yeah.
their butt will lift.
I
lift
love
up.
those videos.
YouTube is a wonderful place.
YouTube is a beautiful place.
It can be.
Lots of
if you
as long
search
as you,
right.
if you avoid the dark corners.
Yes. We should have YouTube and YouTube dark. Like, oh, I don't want to go over there.
I want to stick to corgi butt floating YouTube.
So I want to pose a question to the group, but let's get started with you, Elizabeth. What does it mean to make it in today's music industry?
Oh my gosh,
What do you
that is
think?
so subjective.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, for me personally, my biggest thing has always been how I feel about what I am doing, and as long as I'm happy, that's what matters. So for me, what it takes to make it is I want to make sure that I love what I'm doing. I'm not stressed out in all the wrong ways. And I mean, a lot of it is just being able to play shows and have people naturally show up. I feel like that's what a lot of it is. I mean, yes, you want to really push your music and your act, but
Yeah.
a lot of it is just making it to where people want to come and experience your music live. And that's what I feel like a lot of what being able to make it in the music industry nowadays is, just because a lot of these like out of city bands, they'll come through DC and people will just naturally show up
Yeah.
without them having to really do much promotion, because people love their music and they hear about it on like Spotify, YouTube, social media, whatever the hell the kids use nowadays.
Yeah.
I say that as
TikTok.
I am. TikTok. Oh my gosh. Don't even get me started. But
Can we do an Elizabeth II video on TikTok?
I don't
Is that
have it.
possible?
I don't have a TikTok.
What?
No, that's like
How are we supposed
I
to make
heard it's
music
owned
videos?
by the Chinese government.
Really? I can't have the Chinese have my
No.
information.
No,
That's not okay.
They would make copies of all your music and sell it as their
yeah,
own.
yeah.
Keith,
but
I think
for
Mary
me,
Jo just came up with our like 13th podcast. Another wasted hour conspiracy theories.
yeah, but for me, it's like not only being able to do well in your own hometown, but it's being able to go to other towns.
Is that a monetary thing as well? Like, is there a level of having being able to support yourself with music
Yeah,
that
well,
also goes into that?
I feel like there's 2 different ways that it could go. One of them is you make more money as a touring musician because you can do things like sell merch. That's where a lot of it comes from.
Right.
And if you're also an independent musician who relies on their currency or relies on their act or brand online, that's another thing to really think about, because you don't make jack shit off of your music.
Yeah.
That is though how you get people sucked into you though.
Gotcha.
And this is something that I'm personally just trying to be a lot better about. But like people will really kind of like, you'll get more money if you got things like merch and if you try and create like more creative ways to engage your audience that
Yeah.
other people don't.
More connections.
More connections, and that's why at least on my Instagram account, I try my best to always reply to every single person who makes any comment on any of my posts, just because it's like we're all human beings. And if someone sees you, at least for me personally, if someone sees you as a human being, someone who has emotions, they will be more likely to interact, to engage with you, to listen to your music, to see what you're about. And the issue that a lot of like bands and like artists that are kind of fresh to it, even like people who've been doing it for a long time, they think of it as like, oh, we're too cool for that. We're too cool to like have conversations with like our fans, or we just refer to them as our fans.
And fans are a group of individuals.
Yeah, fans are a group of individuals, and I feel like that to an extent, when you're at kind of a lower level like me, a lower level of fame, like not famous.
Not
zero.
That
like,
is lower.
Like people just know me in DC. People have just kind of heard of me. It's good to just think of it more as a family and a bond, and to try and create that bond with other people. And I want that community. I love community. I love talking with other people. I don't want there to be any walls whatsoever. So that's what I feel like it really takes to be able to make it in the music business, is to be able to do that with people across the world, take down that wall and really build it up.
Rebecca, what do you think? What does it take to, what does it mean to make it in the music industry now?
So I agree with what Beth said. So you probably know that we've been doing this Darkwave Night series that you guys were part of. It didn't.
She was pointing to Mary Jo, by the way.
Yeah, one of the bands I'm in is Endless Winter, and Endless Winter participated in a Darkwave Night.
For those who don't know from previous shows, Mary Jo Matea is in every band in DC. It is a fact. At some point in time,
She's everywhere.
Between her and Ben Tufts, we've covered the entire DMV
her
area.
and Ben Tufts in every band.
Ben Tufts has played in my band.
See,
We played with Ben Tufts too.
Yeah.
He's everywhere.
No, he's
Is
ubiquitous.
that like achievement unlocked if you've played with both me and Ben Tufts?
Yeah. Well, to me, that's
Achievement unlocked. You are DC music local scene.
that was going to be my answer to when you've made it in the music industry. So you started doing a dark wave night.
Yeah, and then I discovered this community of people that love dark music. Because we write dark music, right? And we didn't expect a lot of people to like it, because people are usually drawn to more major key oriented kind of music. And then we found this community that only loved dark music, and it's just wonderful. So we've sort of built this family through this effort to create this Darkwave Night series, and it's really heartwarming.
Does that feel like you've made it? Is that the do you feel like there's a threshold there you've crossed over, or?
Well, I think happiness is all about expectation management. So
that's my dating life.
Yes. Oh my God.
It's more their dating life when they date me, but it's same concept.
Yeah, so I think everyone in the Neurofarm band kind of just wants to keep writing darker and darker music, but have a good time.
Smile while doing it, huh?
Just write what you want.
Yeah. But now, interestingly, we're competing with Rammstein to be your favorite subculture shock artist. So I'm kind of curious where life will take us, but I'm just happy playing music and keep building this dark family.
That's very cool. How about you, Mary Jo? What does it mean to make it for you in the music industry? We kind of joked about the fact that you've been in like a dozen bands and things like that. Have you reached that point? What do you think it is?
Well, I think like a lot of things, it depends on how you define it, and if making it has to do with some sort of monetary success, then you're going to have different measures.
Sure.
And if making it is having a certain number of people consistently show up at a show, you're going to have a different set of measures. I'm an evaluator by training. I'm sorry about this. So,
okay.
So like Beth said, everybody has their own definition of what that means. And, I've had people ask me that question of like, how do you have time for all the bands that you're in and stuff like that? And it is my theory that people make time for the things they want to make time for.
True.
And so if I'm able to make time for all the things that I want to do, then I'm making it.
That's what's up.
Yeah, I think that's a great answer, right? And at some point in time, you do have to decide. I think this concept's been so anomalous for so long now, where kids are coming out of high school and they're like, we're gonna do music, we're gonna make it, and you're like, what does that mean?
What does that even mean?
And they're like, I don't know, but when I get there, and it's
I'll
like,
know it. And you're like, no, you won't.
and I think it's funny because I don't know that you do. You know, I was lucky enough to be in a band for 17 years. We got to do a bunch of albums. We had some radio play. We had all these things that you would think of as made it. But I never felt that way, right? I never really made a profit on it, but I wouldn't trade it for anything. I felt like it was an incredible use of my time, but it's interesting to see people go, oh, so you never really made it, or, you know, other people being like, wow, you really made it. I wish we had done what you did. You know, you're like, how can I be both at the same time?
Right.
So
Because
it's
of the
interesting.
subjectivity.
Yeah, it really is. So that's great. So let's move on to another question and another guest. So as you were saying, Rebecca, you are a member of the Neurofarm, which is a dark wave band, right? What is dark wave for those people who have never heard of that before? How would
All
you describe
minor
that?
keys.
All minor keys.
Yep. Doomsday. Not
It's
that
not
dark.
not heavy, right? I would say it's not heavy music. It's a little. It has rock like elements in it.
Yeah.
A little more atmospheric at times, I would say. Definitely darker, sadder kind of tones to it. What else would you put it in?
Well, so these two different magazines that reviewed our new album independently came to the conclusion that we sound like a darker version of Radiohead.
Okay.
Oh,
And-
that's what's up.
Yeah, I like
Oh,
that
that's
description a
awesome.
lot.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because I love Radiohead. I'm
Yeah.
sure y'all do.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
the big thing is it's also very dramatic and very theatrical, right? There's costumes, there's lighting, there's an entire experience that goes into it. It is not just watching a stage with music. There's a whole performance that goes along with it. And so you started the Dark Wave Night, which brings in other similar bands, has them play at the Pie Shop, and I think you're up to the fourth one now. Is this
Yeah,
the
we're
next
gonna
one?
do the fourth one, but I'm currently planning our tour, so I haven't really had time to think about the fourth Dark Wave Night, but it will happen.
The tour? Where is the tour going to go? You know?
Still planning. So we just know that it's going to be 5 cities. We have New York City, Pittsburgh, and Philadelphia, but I don't know what the other 2 cities are yet.
May I suggest Copenhagen?
Sure.
I've heard it's really nice.
I played there once.
Uh-oh.
What? You've
Fun
played
fact.
there?
Yes.
Oh
This
my
is a
goodness.
very fun fact.
True story.
Oh my goodness. All right, we're going to find out about that a little later. That's amazing. She's not only in every band, she's in every city.
That's
She's
not
everywhere.
true, but randomly I was in Copenhagen.
Just enough spot cities to sound like she's been everywhere.
Coming to a city near
Oh,
you.
yeah, we played in Munich before.
Oh, there you go.
It's so
See,
random.
she's made it. She played in
You went
Munich.
to another
Munich, just
country.
one city.
Yeah, we never made it to another country. That's totally making it. So if people want to find out about this tour, they could go up to theneurofarm.com. You'll have all that posted once the dates are all figured out.
Yep.
You've also got a pretty exciting contest. You kind of alluded to it a little bit. What's happening here?
Okay, so a little bit background information. Subculture Shock is this popular goth internet radio. They play songs by Rammstein, Blut Engel, or Chelsea Wolfe, one of my favorite. So right now, people can vote for their favorite artist of 2019. And so we're competing with Rammstein, Chelsea Wolfe, and Actor, all of our favorite bands essentially, and us randomly mixed in there somehow.
Right.
So as I was telling Beth earlier, I'm really hoping that Rammstein's fans won't bother to vote in this poll, but if you hear this, please vote for us. It'll mean a lot if we're better than Rammstein.
I know I'm going to.
Yeah.
So you should
Thank
too.
you.
Yeah, this
You
seems like a
should
plan.
too.
much.
Both of you.
Those in the universe, all of us in this room. I'll get you there.
Yes.
Thank you.
Where do people go to vote? Do you know?
So there's a link. It's on our Facebook. I'll put it on Instagram and also our official website, theneurofarm.com.
Okay.
So I'll make it freely available. So please vote for us. Polls close on December 28th.
28th. Okay.
Yeah.
So there'll be plenty of time. We got a couple of days. This is probably going to come out on the 26th. People, you have to run to the polls. You have to vote on this. It's more important than any other election. Wait a minute.
It's very important. It's very
important.
Do it.
It's very important.
Do it.
Yeah, have our love and gratitude for eternity.
And that's a long time.
Yeah, absolutely. So, so let's ask you the next question. We'll start off with you, Rebecca. What is the most important thing you wish you knew when you started out?
So when we first started out, I'm sure everyone went through the same thing, but I didn't even know where to go to book shows.
Right?
Yeah.
You could have. I would have started the venue. I'm just giving him. I know that sounds like mansplaining. I'd be like, hey, what if I want to play here?
I think it's just the intimidation of having to go to an establishment. Like,
who do you talk to? Right? You go to like the bartender and you're like, hey, you don't seem like you do the booking. Do you know the person that does the booking?
Yeah, and also I didn't know what kind of venues would be more receptive to dark music. Like Bossa, for example, right?
Yeah.
That would be a rum place. Our friends band, MAG, is this, hardcore punk band, right?
Sure.
They went to Bossa, and apparently as soon as they started playing, everyone got up and left. So I guess knowing which venues.
Your audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which venues.
Obviously, as we've seen lately, if you're a hardcore punk band, you got to play at Denny's.
Oh my gosh. I love that.
Yeah, so it wouldn't have worked if you had done, like, let's say, some type of brunch.
Right. It's definitely not brunch. Because we don't come out before 9 p.m.
If the sun's still out, no chance.
No. We'll melt.
You'll melt.
We're like vampires wannabes.
Just perform at your local graveyard. I'll be there.
I would do that.
Yeah.
I'd do it.
Yeah.
So
Totally do that.
What did you find? How did you determine what the right place was? And when you're starting out, how did you leap that divide? What was that process like?
So it took a while. And also, I don't know if you know, but a lot of goth venues have since closed.
They're not closed. They're just pretending to be dead.
Good point. So I contacted a couple of dead goth venues, and then they recommended that I talk to this one band, and then one thing led to another. So now I know which venues play goth music.
And you've also now brought goth music into some of the other venues.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we build this community, and venues care about turnout.
Sure. I think that's the important thing to know, right? Is sometimes we think that there's some like magic, like some magic phrase or button you press and you'll be like, can I get a show? Like, we make really good music, and it's both freeing and depressing at the same time to know. Really, they just go like, can you bring 50 people? And you're like, yep. And they're like, we don't care what you do. Like, here's the stage.
That's it right there.
Right?
That's it right there.
Yeah.
That's all that matters.
If you can bring 50 people to a venue, you could just like fart into a bag on the mic and they'd be like, works. Let's make it happen.
Can we sell drinks?
Yeah. Do you want a shot while you're doing that?
Is everyone over 21?
Our youngest fan is 8. Dexter.
Yeah.
Dexter.
Hi, Dexter.
Hi, Dexter.
You two found out that you have a connection
Yeah.
in the pre-show.
Yeah.
This is and so you have a fan who's been out to all of your shows for the last few shows.
All of our shows. Yep.
Yeah, and he is a young drummer, right? And so what did he do for his recital?
So first of all, he's taking drum lessons at 7 Drum City.
And I'm a guitar, voice, and bass instructor there.
I did see your picture on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
So Mitch, hi Mitch, told Dexter about us, and he came to our show, and his parents have been bringing him to our shows ever since. So Bubble is the last song on our recent album, and for his school 7 Drum City recital, he covered Bubble.
Nice.
That
So
is
cute.
the cutest thing I've
Covered
ever
a
cute.
heard.
local band.
Yeah.
That's so
I love
great.
that.
And he wore a top hat.
Oh yeah?
Yep.
Oh, that's great. Did he
It
have
was
Coolest
so
kid in
awesome.
town.
you should have rolled up there with some eyeliner and just put it on the kid. Like, here's your future.
Oh, so he came to our
Welcome.
He came to our last DC9 show and he baked cookies and brought cookies.
Oh my gosh.
How cute is that?
It's
And
adorable.
because he's 8, you don't have to worry about if they're special cookies.
That's
Right.
true. Yeah, there's
You
no.
They're just
it's
cookies.
just someone bringing you a gift because they love you.
When
Yeah.
you're 8, all cookies are special cookies. You're like, can I have more cookies? Those are really special.
He was handing out cookies at our show.
That is so great.
It's so awesome.
That's amazing.
So, Mary Jo, what would you say is what was the most important thing that you wish you knew when you started out? Now that you've done it for a little while and you've booked shows, you've been in multiple bands. If you could go back and tell Mary Jo starting out, like, hey,
I would probably say that there really is no formula
okay.
to anything, because for as many
What about
times
409? There's definitely a formula 409. That's
where's the rim shot sound effect? But
If I remember, I'll add it in post.
so when you say there's not a formula to anything, what do you mean by that?
like, you know, I've just heard people say all the time, like, oh, you're never going to get people out to a show on a Tuesday. There are shows on Tuesdays that sell out.
Yeah.
Or people who say, you know, the best day of the week to release music is on Friday.
Yeah.
Why? Is there any real data that says that people will listen? Here comes my evaluator thing.
Yeah.
again.
It's okay.
Is there any real data that shows that that's a better day to release a song?
Sure.
As far as I know, there's not. So I would just say, like, anytime somebody tries to say like that they know better,
Yeah.
I would question everything.
Are some of these things self-fulfilling? Like, so if you say the best day of the week to like put out music is on a Friday, and then suddenly that becomes a thing that people know, so they start looking for music on Fridays.
Well, I mean, there's
like,
even a hashtag, right? There's a
Yeah.
hashtag New Music Friday. Why couldn't you just start hashtag New Music Thursday?
right. So
You
it's-
know?
whichever one ends up kind of being the first vogue ends up kind of taking it.
Yeah, because, and this is one of the things they'll teach you if you're trying to do any kind of like social media promo, is that there are hashtags that are so oversaturated that you're using it is just sort of useless.
Right.
Because if somebody were searching for it, the chances that your thing would come up are so minuscule.
Mm-hmm.
And you'd be better off finding something that's like a variant of that very popular one.
Right.
So honestly,
Muzak.
New Music Thursday might be a better
Let's
sell.
start that
New-
right now.
We
It's
do.
Thursday right now. New Music Thursday. Oh wait, is it Thursday?
Yes, it's
Yeah,
Thursday
it's
today,
Thursday.
yeah.
Sorry, I forgot what day of the week it was.
It's New Music Thursday, for God's
I don't know
sake.
where I am.
New Music Friday. It's
There you
a
go.
kind of like New Music Friday.
Yeah, or like misspell it. You know, how many hashtags have you seen misspelled?
Yeah, exactly. All right, so when it comes to advice, take it with a grain of salt, because it's not necessarily. It's sometimes just somebody heard it from somebody else who
or
just made it up.
something that was successful for one person might not be successful for another, and vice versa. So
Does that make sense for you, Elizabeth? What would you say? What's the thing that you wish you could have told beginning Elizabeth?
So I completely agree. The first thing that came to mind
Yeah.
when you asked the question was, do not get distracted by boys. Keep your eye on the prize.
Yeah.
No distractions. So I guess that's one of those. I'm not going to go into detail, but that's one thing. Another thing I would say would be to make sure that you just always try your best to write music that if someone else wrote the song that you wrote and you heard it on the radio, you would like it. Just always write music that you personally would like, and that's what will bring out the best in your own songwriting. Because I felt like for the longest time, at least when I was like in a high school pop punk band. Fun fact.
Everyone was in a high school.
We
pop
were
punk
in a
band.
high school pop punk band. We were always writing to what we thought other people would want to listen to. And like the songs were like not great in my complete opinion. And at the time I thought they were great because I had this illusion that, oh my gosh, this sounds like this band, so that means these kinds of people will like it.
Yeah.
And that's not what happened. So I found that the more I started to just write music from my influences and music that I would listen to if someone had just played them on the radio, other people have liked them as well. So that's what's really I found been working for me.
How do you split the difference between copying somebody and being inspired by them or influenced by them?
So I am influenced by a whole bunch of different artists, and you can, if I told you who it was and I told you which song, it was totally influenced, and you'd be like, oh, I can totally hear that.
Is it Mary Jo Matea?
Mary Jo Matea and Ben Tufts. My two inspirations over here. But it's honestly, it's just hearing those little nuances in the music. It's not just from like one song that I'll hear and be like, I want to copy that. It's from listening to like an entire album and understanding their vibe and the way they structure songs and being like, I love this so much. I want to do this exact same thing, but in my own way.
Right.
And it makes it to where you kind of create this sort of like mesh of originality between the music that you listen to all the time, as well as like your own kind of version of what you feel like music should be. So I've just gotten this weird blend of these different arrays of artists that I love. And like some of them are even local artists that like when some people listen to a song of mine, they'll be like, I hear this local artist because I love them so much.
Yeah.
And I've been able to kind of pick up on some of what they've done. And it's like, it's never really intentional. That's the thing. I never intentionally do it. It's just, it takes over the songwriting process because that's what I'm used to listening to.
Gotcha. So you think the difference between copying and being influenced or inspired is how conscious you are of it.
Exactly.
Okay.
And one weird thing is that when I was younger, I used to listen to a lot of 80s music.
Yeah.
A lot of 80s music. And a lot of people have said that my music has sounded like it's from the 90s. So the way I take that is maybe people from the 90s, they've heard this 80s music and was inspired by it and created their own thing, which thus
Sort of
created
meta. I like that.
which thus created the 90s. So
Right.
that's what I got from it because I never listened to 90s music. Like I love it now, but when I was writing all my songs, like I didn't know jack shit about like I knew like maybe 3 Nirvana songs.
Yeah.
And like that's it. So
Also, to be fair, all music historians agree that the 80s didn't really end until about 94. So
well, but yeah, it's a very interesting thing that I've just kind of caught up on. It's like they always say that if you ever want to play like your favorite guitar player, because I'm a guitar player at heart more than anything, then listen to their influences.
Right.
And then you'll be able to kind of pick up on it. I feel like it's the same thing with songwriting, listening to your favorite songwriters' influences and then
gets you closer to them in a more natural way.
In a more
than
natural way.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Now I'd like to open this up because I think you jumped on something that was really interesting here. For Rebecca or Mary Jo, Elizabeth mentioned don't get distracted by boys. Is this ubiquitous? Is it something that have we all had that moment where we had some type of goal and then got diverted because of somebody else's like thoughts of how we should be doing things or what we should be doing with our time or things like that?
I would say on a related note, don't date your bandmates.
oh God, you never do
Don't
that.
date / sleep with your bandmates.
Which is hard for Mary Jo Matea because she has been in every band.
In full disclosure, I'm not referring to any of my DC bands. This is prior to my moving here, and that's why I haven't done it.
This was in Copenhagen, wasn't it?
It's not in Copenhagen.
I agree with you.
Yeah, because and it's not just me because Jay Niemeyer of Color Palette, he and I have said the same thing multiple times. We're just like, it is the worst thing you could do to any sort of band relationship is like screw with that dynamic. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Tension central.
So we started the Neural Farm, and 2 months later, me and the guitar player got together, and then a year later, we got married.
Mm-hmm.
It makes band practice super easy.
Well, now I sound like an asshole.
But that's great though. I guess
sometimes it works out,
I guess it just really depends on who it is, the kind of person.
So that's the question I was going to say is it less about like boys or girls distracting you from some of those goals and more about learning how to find people who encourage you, find people who respect boundaries that you've created? Like
That's what I'd say it is.
How do you grow into that? Because I think that the advice of like don't find love or don't date.
I don't mean that. Like, I sounded horrible. I love people.
But I think we say that, right? We say like don't get distracted by all of this, and the easiest way to do that is like ignore an entire part of yourself. But what's the mature version of that? What does it mean to get to a point where you can balance that?
Just making sure that like you know.
It's a cluster duck.
I guess just making sure that you know what your goal is and that the people who are involved, the parties that are involved, also understand that. And I feel like those that if you do kind of get involved with, like, see your goal and they really help encourage you to reach that goal, then all is well. But you know, sometimes this is not everyone, but like there are some people in this world that like maybe their ego gets in front of them, or maybe they see things a different way. Yeah. And there's like strong disagreements, and that can be an issue. And then you have to kind of be adult about it, and then I guess part ways with said person. But I mean, it depends on, it's a personality thing. Me saying that it's like, don't get distracted by boys. I guess it's more so don't get distracted by, because it can happen with friendships too. Don't get distracted by the people around you, discouraging you. And I guess because making sure that they don't try and hinder your creativity. Yeah. And try and create a barrier between you and what you want as a human being out of this life.
Well, I think we bring it full circle, because the things that you're talking about in terms of kind of friendships and relationships, I think also speak to band members, right?
Definitely.
Like you said, knowing, we talked about what it is to make it in the industry. And I think one of the most important things you can have is an entire band who agrees on what that thing is.
And it's the best thing.
Right. Like,
it's amazing.
It could be, we don't care about money. We just want to do, 60 shows a year. And it's like, let's all do that. Right. Yeah. Like, or it could be, we need to be able to make a living, and that's important, but we can do it any way possible. We can, do our merch, and we can do our shows.
Fart in a bag.
Yeah, whatever it is, as long as we can sell tickets.
As long as 50 people will show up.
Yeah.
That's all the venues care about.
That's true. I'm up here just playing
performance art.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I'm just going to play my cat.
Or tape a banana on the wall.
Honestly, if I just brought my dog, people would probably come.
Just corgis.
My dog is there.
Just bring
little bandit.
Bring corgis and make their butts float, and then you're good.
There'll be a pool in the middle of the stage. Just pay $10 your way, and you can have drinks too. Just watch this corgi's butt just float in this little pool.
All right, Mary.
Now that's entertainment.
That is entertainment right there.
Mary Jo, let's get to you now. We saved you for last here. In a sense, we've talked to both of these ladies, and technically you're in their bands. So
if I haven't yet been, I will be.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
I just imagine Mary Jo showing up to concerts with bands that she's not a part of, and just sneaking on stage with like a tambourine and being like, "I got you."
Next second guard show, I'm sneaking you on, Mary Jo.
Song needs.
Yeah. I feel like that's actually
needs me.
Like a really clever idea, and you've just put this in my head.
I let you do it. Show up to one of my shows with a tambourine.
Like it'll just, like you have to be really sneaky about it, and just sort of like so that nobody that's on stage notices until like halfway through the song where they can't stop.
And then just a shirt that says Mary Jo Matea.
I wish I could come up with something funny, like punked. You've been punked. Like you guys need to come up with something punny and funny that I can put on a shirt.
We can do this. The best would be
you've been Mary Jo just doesn't really have the right ring to it.
Not your average Joe.
Yeah. I just would love it if the band was playing and then you came in with the tambourine and they were like, "What is that?" And they're like, "That's perfect."
Oh wait, got it. Got it. Perfect. What if it just said, "Hey, it's MJ."
Hey, it's MJ. See, this is good.
You can sell your shirts and your merch onto the merch table as well.
You just creep out and people will be like, "Hey, it's MJ."
Right.
That's an idea. I love
I'm
it.
sorry, you had a question.
We were supposed to be serious.
I think you back on, and on the back of the t-shirt it says "knock knock, who's there?" And when you turn around, it says "tambourine."
You show up with your different percussion.
All right.
I'm gonna shake it up, and sometimes I'll bring an egg shaker or a maraca
Yeah.
or something.
Two of them just
You'll shake it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
Ba-doo-tsh.
So you have a show Saturday, January 4th at the Pie Shop in Washington, D.C. You're playing with Azure Wolf and Higher Numbers.
That is correct.
And so definitely go do that. First of all, just go to that show. That's going to be fun because
there's
she'll have
pie.
She has a new shirt
And
coming
there's
out.
music.
It's going to be the best.
She's going to sneak onto her own band's stage.
With a tambourine.
They're like, you're in this band.
Yeah.
What?
I don't know if I can accomplish that. That would be tricky.
The clone.
And so if they want to find out more about that show and all of the other things you do, MaryJoMattea.com. That is MaryJoMattea. Is that
Yep.
right? Nailed it. So good at this. So go check that out. But you also had a Christmas song that just came out.
I did, yes.
So tell us a little bit about this Christmas song. It might be really appropriate. This show's coming out just after
Yeah.
Christmas. It might be the last Christmas
Sure.
song you want to listen to.
Right. So my bandmates and I have been like toying with the idea of coming up with an actual band name rather than just operating under my name. And jokingly, our drummer was like, "Let's be the War on Christmas." And he even designed this really funny logo where the T was like an upside down cross.
Nice.
And I mean, it was very
Satan.
funny, but I was like, as funny as this is, we probably shouldn't be War on Christmas. I was like, but it would make a great song title.
Yeah.
And then our guitar player, Josh, was like, now go write that song.
Write that song.
And I
Right now.
laughed, but then I was like, and then I wrote a Christmas song that is basically about how you shouldn't listen to Christmas songs until Christmas time.
Right. After Thanksgiving.
After Thanksgiving.
I agree.
Yeah.
I'm all for December 1st. I feel like it can have all of December.
One of the lines in the song is like, at least wait until Thanksgiving's done.
Yeah.
Just wait till Thanksgiving's
It's
done.
not hard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you completely.
So yeah, it's the war on Christmas, but clearly Christmas won.
So let me
That's so brilliant. I love that.
since you've had so much experience in different bands in the area, I'm gonna lob one of the harder questions over your direction. What do you think is the biggest issue facing the DC area music scene right now?
Whoa,
do you
that was a
think?
heavy one.
Yeah,
I'm
what is it that
scared.
needs to change?
Well, I don't know if what's coming to mind isn't necessarily something that like needs to change so much as it is a challenge that we all face, which is there is an overabundance of cool shit to go do or see every night of the week
Yeah,
in this city and the surrounding cities, like not just DC, but like Arlington and
Baltimore.
everywhere.
Yeah,
Right.
all of it.
There is so much cool shit, music and otherwise, to do that it is really hard to convince people that my show is the thing you should come to.
Right. Don't go to Zoo Lights. Come to my show.
Come to my show.
Mhm.
You know, particularly when there's a lot of these people who are like, didn't you just play like 3 weeks ago? You know, so like it really makes it I'd say that that's the challenge that we all, I mean, you guys correct me if I'm wrong about this. Like,
100%.
It's so true.
it's, you know, it's not to say that like what we're doing is not satisfactory. It's
Yeah.
just that there's so much other good shit going on.
Yeah, that's
You know,
really difficult.
Hypothetically, what if Rebecca and Beth and I were all playing different shows on the same night?
Right. What you should do is sneak on stage with them.
Exactly. Be at all three shows
For
at
my
once.
set, I'm going to run across town and tambourine in the Neuro Farm.
Perfect.
This is going to be a thing. We're going to make this a
But
thing.
this does
gay.
happen. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of our friends are also musicians.
Yeah.
And we
Yeah.
always like, it is the common joke of, I can't come, I'm playing that night.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, if we're all playing all the time, who's, you know, like, it's just like, and you know, you don't want to be like, I'm competing for fans with you. You know,
Right.
it's not like that. We are definitely much more of a friendly community than that.
I mean, there's plenty of
We're
people,
very friendly.
right? There's plenty
You know,
of
We
non-musicians.
want each other to succeed.
Right.
Whenever like any local band makes it like kind of big, we're like, oh my god,
Yeah.
Yeah.
this is so sick.
Yeah. So I would say that is a huge challenge, is like, how do you make that argument convincingly
Yeah.
that
That's
my thing is the thing you should do or listen to or watch or whatever?
Elizabeth, how about you? What do you think is the biggest issue facing the DC music scene?
My thing is that I don't even think DC realizes it has a music scene
Really?
at all. I don't think
I
it
agree
does.
with that.
Because we're so focused, and understandably so, because this is the capital of the United States of America. At least the news, local news, everything, local newspapers, every media outlet that is devoted to the city itself is
Yeah.
devoted to politics and all the fuckery that's going on right now.
Would you say
And
that they think that DC is just a city of politics, scandals,
that is
and-
what so many people think.
and not one brimming with art, music, and culture?
Exactly. That is exactly what I would say. And
As
that's the biggest
impossible as
thing.
that may seem.
That's as impossible as let me see.
If there was only some kind of podcast trying to
If
change
only.
that.
If only that existed. DC doesn't, the working class of DC,
Yeah.
like the people who are like lawyers, politicians, media analysts, all these people who are in these big high class government jobs, they don't know that there is a music scene at all. They don't know.
Yeah.
They only know what they hear on the radio, what they listen to on like the big Spotify playlist if they're coming to like Capital One Arena or whatever.
Yeah.
They don't know that there's like local bands, and the local like the news media outlets. I feel like, and this isn't all of them. There are some really really great ones that are doing a good job of bringing light to
Sure.
local music,
Yeah, yeah.
but the majority of it doesn't do a good job of, I feel like, highlighting the culture that is the DC music scene. And especially because I feel like the DC music scene is so eclectic.
Yeah.
It used to be strictly like go-go and like punk, which is awesome. That's where the roots are. But it's become this like niche music, this weird converging of genres. There's just so much cool music coming out of DC, coming out
Dream pop to dark wave.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's so much weird, cool music that is coming out of this area that no one who even lives here has a clue about.
Do you think it's cyclical that since people aren't really aware of local music, then why would the media wants to give people what they want, so they're going to give them the things that are already popular, which means that then people don't know about local music, therefore the media ignore it even more.
That's exactly what it is. It's like fucking like Lana Del Rey comes to like Jiffy Lube, and like everyone who is in my high school class like, oh my god, I'm gonna go see Lana Del Rey tonight, which is awesome. I love Lana Del Rey, but like none of them ever go to like, they don't give a shit about local
and then
music,
you're
which
gonna-
I mean, I get it, but I don't, because it's like, why would they want to dive into the local music scene? Well, it's because they don't know it exists and they don't know where to look.
Yeah.
They don't know
Rebecca,
where to go.
What do you think? What's the thing that's facing the biggest issue facing the DC music scene? Is it the same, or is there something else that you think is also in play?
So I think that's important. And I have a hypothesis to explain that.
Yeah.
So, when you're in your early 20s, you go out at night and go see shows.
I don't remember those.
Well, so I wonder if, because every time touring bands come through DC, I ask them, like, what's your favorite place? A lot of people mention Baltimore or Charlottesville or Richmond, never DC.
Interesting.
I wonder if, I don't know if you guys heard that from touring bands. I wonder if it's because DC has a larger percentage of ambitious young staffers.
Oh. So essentially where we were saying don't let boys distract you from your goals, they're saying don't
Damn
let
it.
bands distract you from you goals.
I get that.
It's my hypothesis.
Yeah. Okay.
That makes perfect sense, because I know a lot of people who I've talked to, they'd be like, I come to DC and I'm like I have all these aspirations, these dreams, and I found out I was jaded. I'm like, what? Jaded for what? Because I've lived here all my life, so I'm like, it's just a fucking city.
Traffic
like,
sucks. Yeah.
like jaded for what?
Yeah, there are people that work in DC, right? It's a separate population than people that live here.
Yeah.
That's true. That is there's a lot of people coming in and out of the city on a daily basis, hence the traffic.
like me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
same. I live in Maryland, actually.
Ashburn.
So, is there a thought of how we solve for that? What do we do to make local music break through above zoo lights and national acts and make the area aware of the fact that there's actually a lot of really great art and music here? How do we get media to notice? How do we get people to notice?
We just gotta
Let the metro stay open past midnight.
Yes.
That too.
I feel like we just gotta really push each other.
Yeah?
Really push each other. I mean,
What if we push them into clubs?
exactly. I'll physically go out and just start pushing people with my arms. Be like,
Yeah.
you just gotta go
As
in
people
here.
are walking by clubs, you just start slowly just pushing them in. They're like, where are you? You're going to see a show now. That's
gonna
what you're
see a
doing
show.
tonight.
But like, why would they want to see a show?
Mm-hmm.
You know?
And they have to get up at 6 to go to work.
Yeah.
What
why
is
would
that
they want to
answer?
see a show?
Why would they want to see
Why
it?
would they want to see a show?
I mean, they're amazing shows. I mean, that's the answer, right? I mean, I guess part of the problem is it can be hit and miss, right? There are
Like-
people who can and people who can't just rock out a venue. If you hit the ones that can, you walk away from that night going, that was worth every dollar I spent.
I feel like the thing that a lot of musicians in the area, and I'm guilty of this as well, is we need to not like tackle musicians, try and get musicians to come to our shows.
Right?
Just because like
You're
it's
preaching to the pride.
you're preaching.
the
Yeah,
choir,
exactly. We need to try and get the people who are non-musicians to come to the shows.
Get
but like
Find
fans.
them, though.
get people.
Fans.
Get fans.
Yeah.
And I feel like they're the people who are most excited about it because they're not like nitpicking every little thing that like the guitar player is doing or the drummer's doing. Just be like, oh, that was fun, but like the mix was like whatever. You know, they're not nitpicking everything.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't know.
So, as you may have heard, we had our time duck tell us that it is time for us to move on. So, because we have a new format, we had to renegotiate the contracts and stuff like that. So now, unfortunately, we are contractually obligated to let engineer Adam ask a question. And I've
I
not
love how you
vetted
pretend
these.
like my questions are not going to be as hard hitting or serious as yours.
I haven't vetted these questions, so I apologize ahead of time. But as we are required by contract, engineer Adam, please ask our panel your question.
I think it's actually a very good one.
Yeah.
What is everyone's favorite punishment for the bands that start 15 minutes late because they refuse to use the fucking backline equipment?
Oh.
Favorite punishment?
Oh, man.
He's a. You said you like dark music. He's like into the dark comedy. He's a dark wave comedian.
I just high five them and say great set afterwards.
While you're outside smoking the whole
Great
time.
set. Yeah. Outside talking to my squad.
How about you, Mary Jo? How do you punish the band that refuses to use the back line?
I don't know. I don't know if I've really experienced that too
Oh,
frequently.
you are so lucky.
I am very lucky, but we're all, I guess, maybe my people and the people I play with are all lazy enough not to want to have to bring their own
Same.
drum kit. Why would you want to bring your own drum kit?
Well, so I
when
have a
there's
theory
one
about
right
this.
there?
Oh,
No,
Yeah.
I do actually have a theory. It's always brand new drummers want to use their kit because it's their kit that they spent $200 on at Guitar Center.
Mm-hmm.
And then you get to the middle, like the mid-range bands who, just like you said, they're too lazy. Like, can anyone else bring the kit because I cannot fit it in my Miata?
Yeah.
And then when they get really good and they start to make it, now they want to use their kit again because they've actually spent money on the kit and fuck everyone else's, $200 drums. They want to use their really expensive
My
drums.
band loves playing Pie Shop because they have everything.
It's so great.
Oh, yeah?
And it's all
It's
in working
awesome.
order. They have bass amps, they have multiple guitar amps, they have keyboard stands, they have a fully functioning drum kit that's a good drum kit.
And it's like good amps too. It's
Yeah.
like
That's
really,
rare, though.
It's really good stuff.
Yeah, and so like when somebody says, do you guys want to play this gig at Pie Shop? We're like, we're there.
Did you notice that Adam defined what he believes is making it, which is you get to use your drum kit again?
No, I said when they're starting to make it, they
Yeah.
want to use their
Yeah.
drum kit.
Yeah.
Different standards.
That's the key to it. All right, so that was engineer Adam's question. Very hard hitting, very
So hard.
important. So I'm going to leave with one last question. We've got a little bit of time left. So this is going to be a trickier one, I think. Okay. Let's start. Let's wrap back around. We'll start with Elizabeth. You help us with this one. What is an artist in the DC area that people need to know about that isn't in this room?
Oh, Kid Brother.
Kid Brother.
Kid Brother. They're so
Okay.
fucking good.
Yeah?
They're
What is it they
so
do?
good. They're like indie rock. Like their music, like they have this very specific sound to their music that's so unique, but
Yeah.
they're so catchy. They're so good. And they're literally like the nicest people you ever meet.
Nice.
They're so fucking good. Like I listen to them on a daily basis.
I think it's surprising how many musicians end with that comment. When they say, you got to check out this band, it's like, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they're the nicest people you'll ever meet.
They're so nice,
Like-
but they're so fucking good.
Yeah.
And their songwriting is just so good. Like I love their songs.
Well, we talked about the thing that you need to know going in. And I think that that's one of the things that people should know going in is that you can be amazing. And if you're just a bunch of jerks, people will be like, they're
It
good.
doesn't fucking matter. Yeah, but that's my band.
That's the goose.
It's my pick band.
All right. So real quick, Rebecca, who do we need to know about in the DC area?
Can I mention two?
Two? Sure.
Red the Severed and 11 grams.
Red the Sever
I've
and
played with Red the Sever.
I
I second
know.
that. They're great.
Yeah, so
and
Entertaining.
they're so entertaining. I have their new album in my car actually, and one time I was driving 3 of my students to Georgetown and they were forced to listen to Red the Sever. And they loved
They're
it.
forced.
Yeah.
and who was the second one?
11 grams. So
11 grams.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, also really energetic, awesome shows. I'm actually their guest vocalist and violin player.
Do they need a tambourine player?
I was just thinking that.
There.
She'll just sneak up on stage with her shirt. It'll be great.
She's like 12 grams. Mary Jo, who's the band that we need to know about that you're not in?
My favorite DC band that isn't me and that isn't anybody else in this
Or
room
Ben
right
Tuff.
now, or Ben Tuff, is Venray.
Venray. Okay.
Yeah, it's a guitar and drums duo,
Mm-hmm.
and they make very like 90s adjacent rock music that is close to my heart.
Oh, very nice. So 90s adjacent. Would that be like Elizabeth II?
Well, I mean, that's why when you said like people have called your music 90s sounding, like I love 90s sounding music and I love your music. So that
Thank
makes
you.
perfect sense. I don't know that I would have put the 90s label on it, but it all like comes together. So
Well, thank you so much for spending time with you. Did you have a good time?
yeah.
I think
It
it was
was
fun.
fine.
I think we're gonna call this After Hours. We're gonna get 3 different people each time, talk about some things that are happening in the DC area and music or other industries that people are a part of. I think it's nice to get a perspective from people who have an opportunity to talk not just in between our jokes. So this is really great. I know that some of these were a little hard hitting, but I think it shows a lot as to what the art in the area is, what the music in the area is. And hopefully people who are listening and maybe starting off in those areas have some sense of lessons learned and also what's to come. And also that there's a fantastic art scene around that they can be a part of. Is there any, before we kind of head out, is there a dream artist that you would open for?
My Chemical Romance.
My Chemical Romance?
My Chemical Romance.
Yeah. How about you, Rebecca? What,
Oh, Chelsea Wolfe.
Chelsea Wolfe. You're going to try and beat her in a contest, right?
We'll make
But-
it happen. Come on, DC. Vote.
If
You
she'll
beat her,
let
she
us
opens for you.
open for her, I'd happily lose.
You'll make her. You'll let her win.
Yeah,
You'll
if
just
she'll
back
let us
down.
open.
Mary Jo, who would you like to open for? What's your?
I'm gonna go with Alanis Morissette.
There's a
Ooh.
tour coming through.
I know, and Alanis, if you or your people are listening,
And need
I
a
live very
tambourine
close
player.
to the Merriweather Post Pavilion venue. And
you have a
I'm
tambourine?
happy to hop on stage with my
If you
tambourine.
can sneak onto that stage, I will be so impressed.
If not with Alanis, it could be with Garbage. Garbage is also playing at
And
that
Liz
show.
Phair, right?
And Liz Fair.
all very good.
I know.
That's-
This is going to be like the show of the century.
I saw.
And you're going to play with all the
and
bands
I'm
with
going
your
to
tambourine.
sneak on every single
You're
set.
going to fill up the sonic spectrum.
She's just
I'm going to land myself in jail.
still
It'll be
be
worth
on,
it.
She'll be on stage between the like changeovers just still playing.
The tambourine solo.
All right, that is all the time we have. Thank you so much for joining us. Once again, Elizabeth II is playing Saturday, January 11th at Songbird in Washington, D.C. with Kat Janis and the Can Evens. Go to elizabethiimusic.com for more. The Neurofarm, a tour coming up. Go check out their social media to find out more. Don't forget to vote for them in this contest. That'll be on social media.
Yes.
Check out theneurofarm.com for more there. Mary Jo Matea is up on Saturday, January 4th at the Pie Shop in Washington, D.C. with Azure Wolf and Higher Numbers. Check out maryjomatea.com and don't forget to play her Christmas song. So now us, as you know, we are Another Wasted Hour. Please like our posts, follow us, retweet us, and share the show on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. We cannot do this without you. Also, don't forget to review us on Facebook, Apple Podcasts, and Google Play. Most of all, I want to thank our guests for being here and talking, and you, our fans, for wasting a perfectly good hour with us. This has been Another Wasted Hour, and if you just realized that, don't blame us. We warned you.